Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
The Stock Movers Report, your roundup of companies making moves in the stock market, harnessing the power of Bloomberg data.
Now let's take a look at some of the stocks on the move today in Europe. I'm Stephen Carroll and I'm joined by Bloomberg's breaking news editor, Louise Moon. Louise, let's start then with the German defence sector and the move higher in Rheinmetall, among others in the space.
Yeah, we're seeing across the whole of European defence sector, we're seeing rises across that whole space. So as you say, Rheinmetall in Germany, BAE Systems in the UK, Saab in Stockholm, among a host of others. And this is all on the back of Germany set to approve 29 military procurement contracts next week. So that's worth a record 52 billion euros. So a big push essentially from their government to transform the military. They're saying, they're pledging to make it the strongest conventional army. So really ramping up that push into defence from them. Obviously, this comes on the back of the rise in defence spending that we've been seeing since Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And this just really adds to that and is boosting the stocks that have already benefited even higher in morning trading.
Yeah, indeed. Rheinmetall shares up 4.7% this morning. Let's turn next to shares in British American Tobacco. They're declining after the company announced an update on its revenue outlook. Yeah,
slightly less good news from them. So I'd say shares falling, paring gains this year. That's after their results. They're expecting revenue growth in 2026 to come in at the lower end of their guidance. They had expected the high end. Now they're expecting the lower end. So shares focusing on that and reacting on that, despite the company, they also said they're on track to hit goals this year. They boosted their buyback on the back of new generation products, things like vapes and nicotine pouches, but analysts focusing on that change in revenue growth guidance. And just to on a note on their push into new generation products, this is really their whole theme going forward. Consumer trends are changing. People are moving or spending less on cigarettes, moving away from that. And BAT for a while have been trying to push into these new products, so things like vapes. And Bloomberg Intelligence are saying, more profitable growth in that area would support more cash generation going forward, more buybacks in the future. So more work kind of needs to be done to shore up BAT going forward.
Yeah, it shares down just over 3% in London this morning. And we'll turn to Thyssenkrupp next. Their shares down 9%. What's going on?
Yeah, so again, this is a focus on kind of one part of their update. So their 2026 guidance missed estimates, so future guidance. And again, analysts are focusing on that and it's outweighing other news this morning. They also met their targets this year despite kind of what they're calling a difficult economic backdrop. They expect that to continue. Essentially, they're kind of tackling a host of things, both external and internal. So externally, there's a weakness in the automotive sector that they've been grappling with, and then internally, they're still kind of ploughing on with their ongoing restructuring, and there's a lot of costs associated with that. But as I say, investors are focusing on that guidance miss and shares down heavily into the red.
The Stock Movers Report from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.